So it's been a while since I did a case review, so today we're going to do one. So let's pick one. Oh yes, this case. We'll do this one. What is good, you guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at the DIY N8 BK. I actually don't think this is the BK model. Micro ATX Mini Gaming Tower. So the name, I'm not sure of. I think it's just N8, I believe. I'm guessing, but that's what it's under as Newegg. But I will say that the box they shipped it to me in says Gamer Storm on it, and then DIY PC, and that's basically it. So as for packaging, you get your little sleeve thingy over the window. I believe this isn't for that, and it's just normal hard sell packing foam. Nothing special. It's not shipped out in a case with special types of wrapping that is screams that this is a high quality case. Now this case runs anywhere from 29 to $40 right now. You can actually get the black version of this for $26 with shipping included. 27, I think, actually. So that's with shipping. And standardly you can get this case for about 40 bucks. So I have the white one here, and I have owned the black one. I can tell you this right now, that the white one is definitely better as far as fingerprints and dust goes. You can't see it as well on the white, so I did like the white one. But this computer is built for a friend in Washington, so this is going out there to them very soon. But I wanted to get the video up. I had another computer that I was doing with this one. Sadly, that computer has already been taken off to its new rightful owner, and I will still do a review on the case, but the footage of me actually holding the case is going to be limited because I only grabbed what I could before they took it. But it's definitely, like I said, I have it there, so I have the information in my head of how I felt on the case. So this case, if you guys know, I've already up talked it. I love it. Someone was requesting a actual video of it, so I thought I'd do it. So we'll jump right into this thing. This thing is a small compact type micro ATX only, or ITX. It's only small form factor motherboards. You can't do anything crazy. It doesn't look like it could really easily be modded for a full size ATX motherboard, but I can't say it's not impossible because my case is 12.6 inches wide, and I put a full size ATX motherboard that was 12 inches wide. So I mean, you might be able to do it. I'm honestly, I can't say you can and can't say you can't, but it would definitely be a lot of work. So as far as your medium budget, that most people will have, you probably will be going for a micro ATX motherboard because they are relatively a lot cheaper. At least if you're going Intel. If you're going AMD, micro ATX motherboards can be a little bit harder to get. There is one decent micro ATX motherboard. I think it was by Gigabyte. I can't remember. I'll probably throw the link in the description if you are AMD. From the reviews I've read, people have been able to power an 8320 off of it. But as far as overclocking goes, it's not going to happen on that. But for your mid-range, like your FX 6300 or your 4000 series, or your Intels, which is what this has, a Core i5. Micro ATX motherboards are very easy and very cheap to get your hands on, and you can also get very good ones for very cheap. Like, for instance, I was able to pick up the motherboard for this, which is a MSI CSM H87 model, business model motherboard. It's the G43, so it's the gaming. And it looks good. It's got the nice blue accents that MSI does, and it's got packed full of features for $60. 4 RAM slots, SATA 6, all that good stuff. So that's why I grabbed that motherboard. And like I said, for micro ATX, it's definitely a great deal. And a lot of people might get turned off by this only supporting micro ATX, but if you're the medium, like in the middle, you're either low end or right before you hit high end, this is the case for you because it's only $40, and it's just got all the features you would need for a medium build. Now, things that are turnoffs for people that are enthusiast style or that want hardcore PCs is you cannot do Crossfire or SLI. The second graphics card will run into the hard drive cage, and if you remove the hard drive cage, it will be very, very close to your power supply. which once again, you could, if you're water cooling, then you'll have no issue with it. But it'll basically be running into your power supply, being suffocated. The fans won't breathe. So that's definitely something that you want to think about if you are getting this. But if you're a single GPU, you're not going to be getting a hardcore overclocking system. And even if you were, this can definitely handle some overclocking. The airflow isn't bad at all. So for most part, we'll go through some of the usual specs. We have one USB 2.0, one USB 3.0 power reset. We have a switch at the top that allows to turn the fans that are hooked up to it off or on, which are the LED fans. They hook up via 4-pin Molex, but it's an awesome thing you could do if you have some of the little 4-pin Molex to 3-pin fan headers. Plug a bunch into your power supply and take the LED fans out if you don't like the LED, and then you could have an on and off switch for 3-4 fans in the case. The case can support a total of 5 fans. So let's say, for instance, this fan actually, or this computer has to where it's going to be a silent mode. It has a total of 4 fans in it, 3 fans, 4 fans. Either way, what it does is you push the switch on the top, it turns off the LEDs and 2 of the fans, and there's still 2 more fans running, but it's practically silent. Under load, I would suggest pushing the switch, which turns on the LEDs and turns on 2 of the fans, and helps it breathe. So that's kind of a cool, you can do a quick option, a lot of ideas that you can, mess around with that. You could have it hook up to like cold cathode LEDs, anything like that. The fact that it just has the built-in switch at the top makes it really good for special customizations and stuff like that. There is no optical drives, but chances are you're probably not going to be using them. I don't use them. I have a friend that has an optical drive in his computer. He didn't even know if it worked because he's only used it like twice. So, I mean, it just goes to show that people think they need an optical drive and they really don't. Everything can be moved via flash drive or downloaded or streamed from the internet nowadays. So optical drives are kind of out. But if it is something you need, this case does not have it. You'll be looking to pick up a external USB one if you do want this case. But with that, adding an extra $20 to your price tag, you might just want to buy a case that can put an optical drive in it. But at the same time, how often do you really use that? So other things that we can look in this case, there's only support for two hard drives, 3.5-inch hard drives. There is a mount on the back of the motherboard tray for an SSD, as well as one, I believe, on top of the hard drive mount that you could put an SSD on. Honestly, SSDs are really easy to find little spots for. Worst case scenario, you drill 4 holes real quick and mount one in real fast. It's really easy. So as far as SSDs go, you could fit as many as you wanted in there if you know how to mod it a little bit. But natively, we're looking at about two 3.5s and one 2.5, so we'll just call it at that, which isn't bad. Once again, for your immediate moderate user who's looking to pick up a really cheap case to save money that looks good and has good build quality, this is what you would be aiming for. Chances are you're not going to have 5 hard drives in there because you're budget building. Anyways, move on to some other stuff that we're looking at in here. So it's got a tinted window. This is kind of a gripe with me. I'm not a fan of tinted windows. I like more of a clean aesthetic window, but at the same time, the tinted window hides smudges, dirt, dust, and scratches a lot better than your regular window. Not to mention, when this thing's running in silent mode, it looks really cool because all you see is the little BIOS switch from the R9 280 in there that's lit up, and that's it. And it's just a little green dot in the back of the computer. It just looks cool because of that. So I will give it to the tinted window. It's more of a preference thing, but it does have a tinted one, just so you guys do know that. As far as fan filters, we don't have any removable fan filters. The one on the bottom for the power supply is one of the cheaper type ones that kind of just like you gotta like squish it together and it like pops out of the little hinges underneath. It's not the removable tray type. But it does have a fan filter, and all of these vented areas, can't move my hand there, all of the black vented areas have that mesh type of foam filter in front of it, which are a bitch and a half to clean. I have 2 cases that have them. The Thermaltake Core V1 and Core V21 both have those. And I can tell you right now, they're not fun to clean, and they do like to hold dust, but it is very possible to clean them, and it does keep dust out of your system, and they do their job. So once again, for $40, my NZXT Phantom 240 doesn't even have fan filters in front of the front area or the top area. It's just the black gridded mesh. So it was kind of nice that they included something behind that to keep the dust from getting in. As far as your cable management, this case is amazing with the cable management. The grommeted holes are well placed and well thought out. And overall, the backside has the extruded center, so as long as you bulk all your wires in there, you'll be perfectly fine. I added probably an extra 2 feet worth of cables in here because I have two 6-pin extensions sleeved white, and then the 24-pin and the 8-pin extension all sleeved white. So as you can tell, it probably puts out a lot of extra cables, and the back closes moderately easy. It doesn't bulge, but I do have to kind of push it down and slide it in, but it doesn't bulge at all. So I mean, that's good spacing. That's what I gotta say for it. The cable management in this one's very easy. I wish that the wires at the top were a little bit more hidden. The top I/O with the power and USB does come down, and it is connected to the top panel. So removing it can be kind of a hassle, more or less. It depends if you have everything hooked up already. So if everything's already hooked up, chances are you're going to have a little bit of fun trying to pull that off and clean that filter. So that's a little bit of a downside, but at the same time, this is I use it as an exhaust fan, and I would only really see it being used as an exhaust fan. So as long as you're using it as an exhaust, you shouldn't have to clean out that filter. But overall, like I said, I really love this case. For graphics card length, we're looking at about 12.5 inches if you don't have any fans up at the front on the inside of it. Now, this thing can support a 240 millimeter radiator. That's pretty intense for how small this thing is. We're looking at about 14 inches by 14 inches by 7 inches, 6 inches. Let's see. 14 by 14 by 8 inches, sorry. So it's moderately tiny compared to like the Phantom 240, which is what this thing kind of looks like. It's tiny compared to pretty much any standard midsize ATX case you would find, and it's even small compared to a lot of micro ATX cases you would find. So it does support the 240 millimeter radiator. You can actually, if you remove the fan at the bottom, you can actually put it right here, up here, or if you want to keep your fan at the bottom, you could put it on the inside of the case. Now, depending on the length of your graphics card is depending on how you're actually going to be able to do this. There's several ways you can kind of jimmy rig around it. So you could have your radiator on the inside and the fans on the outside and get rid of that fan down here and just have the two fans right here blowing in with the radiator on the inside of the case. And that would allow for a longer graphics card. Now, if you have a really short graphics card, then you can actually just straight put the fans and the radiator on the inside. It's up to you. But we're looking at about 12.5 inches, which a lot of graphics cards aren't that long, but there are a few that are longer than that. The Toxic series by Sapphire being one of them, as well as Gigabyte series are pretty long as well. So there is a limit to how long the graphics card can be. Now, as the power supply, you have a total of 8-inch clearance from the back to the hard drive cages that are in the way. Once again, the hard drive cages, 4 rivets with a drill, would come out in about 10 minutes, and you could put a as long as power supply as you want, but then you'd have to find out where you want to mount your hard drives. But once again, if you're crafty, that's all easy peasy. So we're looking at about 8 inches from that to that, so from the back of the case to the hard drive cages. So I would say what you should do is look for about a 7-inch power supply, which leaves you 1 inch room between the cage and the power supply for your wires to come out, because otherwise they will be squished. So we're looking at about, probably, I would say max size. You could try and push 7.5 inches, but I would definitely keep it at 7. But that's still a pretty beefy power supply. We have an EVGA 500 watt in here that works just fine, as well as a Sapphire Dual X 280, R9 280, Intel i5, all that stuff. Good stuff. It's a good computer. But that's why I'm saying you can build a moderately high mid-range, you know what I mean? So when you get the ladder, you got your low, your mid, and then right before you hit high range gaming PC, that's where this one stands at with the 280 and the i5. This thing can beast pretty well. I've even tested it at 1440p. It runs absolutely no issue at high settings to very high settings in some games. Older games, it'll max out even at 1440p, but newer games like Grand Theft Auto, I was able to run very high settings at 40 frames per second to 50. So, I mean, that's really good. So overall, I love this case, absolutely love it, and there are some gripes with it. The gripes I have is, of course, no ATX, but I can't blame it because of the size. The crappy fan filters is kind of but a $40 case, at least they have fan filters. I'm glad it's got a USB 3.0 at the front, so that's always a plus. The PCI brackets are the one-time use. Once you pop them out, got to replace them. But once again, $40 case, you can't complain about it because honestly, a lot of $40 cases are like that. So I can't hold it against it. The glossy exterior of the black definitely holds up a lot of fingerprints, but if you keep it clean, it looks really nice. And honestly, I like the white better because I've always, if I had to choose the white or black, I always choose the white. And overall, tinted window, there's no rubber feet on the, no rubber grommets on the feet, but I will say this, that the feet are detachable. I do not know exactly why, and I'm having a little trouble getting it off right now, but I know that you can pop them off, and when you do, there we go, when you do, you get these two little clips in there, and then you have these holes that line up, so I'm pretty sure you can put screws in these holes to make sure they don't come off. There is a little bit of an indent in the bottom of the feet, so if you could find a rubber pad, you could definitely rubber pad the feet. So that's a huge plus, as well as the fact that these come off means that you can customize your own feet, which is why DIY has been making their way up in my list of quality parts, because that's actually a really good idea that you can pull the feet off and mount custom feet on it like that easily. And if you ever want to go back, bam. And underneath here there are several different holes, not just two holes for these. There's a decent amount of random holes right underneath that this covers up. So you could mount several different types of feet in little locations depending. You could kind of micro adjust exactly how you want it to get it perfect. So I mean, those are little things like that make this case definitely worth it. And as far as here, I can actually pull out the fan filter real quick because I didn't get a video of it. Sorry guys, I forgot about that. But the fan filter, as we can see, is one of these ones where it's like just like that, and it's like flimsy. But I will say this, my Phantom 240 has this type of fucking fan filter on the power supply, which is really sad. But then again, that case is only $60, and that case, the Phantom NZXT Phantom 240 is an amazing case. For its price, it is a really good case. And things like that are just little cheap ends they took to allow for other types of things to happen in that case, so I understand it. But yeah, overall, this is an amazing case, you guys. If you're looking for a small budget case, this is definitely one to get. The motherboard standoffs, that is one other gripe. It doesn't come with enough motherboard standoffs for Micro ATX. Granted, you don't need them all. There's, I think, 2 missing. And as long as you're not pushing on your motherboard constantly, you're fine. And I would say leave out the bottom ones when you do, choose which ones aren't going to have standoffs. But it's kind of crappy. I thought at first it was maybe just me and the case that I got, but because I bought 2 of these and they both came with the same amount, then I'm pretty sure that just means they don't come with them. So things like that is where this case had to cut some corners to make it into its small price range with its extremely rigid build quality. Very amazing. I can definitely see putting a lot of fans in this not being the best. The material this case is made out of likes to kind of echo the turbulence of the wind and kind of makes it sound like a wind tunnel. So using just the stock fans, the thing's near silent. But once you start to add in 3, 4 fans and really start to make the computer have some turbulence in it, it definitely echoes off the side panels a little bit and kind of makes like a weird wind tunnel noise. But once again, it's not crazy, and if you're wearing headphones, you can't hear it. It's nothing like having the Corsair H100i fans on full blast. But those are little cons and things that I can definitely get over with. And for the price that they asked for this thing, like I said, right now they have it on sale for the black one for $36. So I would definitely grab one if you're interested in it. If not, then I mean, keep looking, because this is only Micro ATX anyways. But yeah, that's my case, and I probably will be buying this for future builds in the future because of its price and overall features that it has with the price. Coming with 2 LED fans and a well built, like, this is a very sturdy case. Very, like, it is, you pull the panel off and try to shake it, it doesn't budge. It's a very sturdy case. So I mean, with that type of build quality, USB 3.0, all black motherboard connections for the front ports, they're all black, which is an awesome feature. I mean, you've run into $70 cases that don't even have that. So The fact that they're all black and stuff like that is great, and little things like that, the cable management, all those little features that they included in such a small price range really make this case worth it. Anyways, you guys, this is Steven with All Talk On, and if I forgot something, leave it in the comments, and I'll catch you guys later.